Akira Toriyama was a master of storytelling. For example, the fact that Goku was an alien was not introduced back in the original Dragon Ball, yet when it was revealed in Dragon Ball Z, fans accepted it almost immediately. That is because of the way Toriyama introduced the idea. He was able to expand the world naturally without making it feel forced. Originally, Goku was based on Sun Wukong from Journey to the West, yet Toriyama successfully transformed him into a Saiyan warrior while keeping the spirit of the original character intact. That is why many people consider Toriyama such a talented improviser and storyteller. Another retcon, and I do not even know if people consider this to be a retcon, is Piccolo and Kami originally being considered demons from the demon realm. But Toriyama later changed his mind and made them aliens because he wanted to shift their story in a different direction. Nobody argues with that change because Toriyama introduced the retcon in a way that actually enhanced the story. With that being said, let's compare that to some of the retcons introduced in Dragon Ball Super that, in my opinion, contradict ideas that Toriyama himself previously established. The introduction of Beerus undermines the entire Dragon Ball Z story because throughout Dragon Ball Z, we were led to believe that Frieza was the most powerful being in the universe. There were no gods of destruction or higher beings stronger than Frieza. That is why, after the Frieza saga, Toriyama had to introduce the androids, because there was nobody left in the universe who could realistically challenge Goku. This undermines the entire Frieza arc, because Frieza's whole motivation was that he destroyed the Saiyans out of fear of the Super Saiyan legend. But now we are led to believe that he did it because Beerus ordered him to. This is important because Toriyama constantly changed and improvised ideas throughout Dragon Ball's history. However, when Toriyama made changes, they usually enhanced the story instead of contradicting it. The Saiyan reveal explained why Goku was far stronger than normal humans. It expanded the lore while still making sense within the world that had already been established. However, I believe many of the changes made in Dragon Ball Super made the original manga created by Akira Toriyama worse. I understand that many fans do not appreciate Dragon Ball Daima, but I think Daima was one of the few projects where Toriyama was genuinely involved. Let me explain why I believe that. Daima feels like a true continuation of Dragon Ball Z in a way that Super does not. Dragon Ball Daima expands on concepts introduced in the original Dragon Ball, such as the Demon Realm and the Namekians. It makes sense that the Namekians originated from the Demon Realm, and that they are linked to the Supreme Kais. When King Piccolo was first introduced, he called himself the Demon King Piccolo, and the Namekians are the only race in Dragon Ball capable of using magic similar to the Supreme Kais. For example, the Namekians are the only race capable of creating Dragon Balls, which are artifacts more powerful than anything a Supreme Kai can create alone. To me, Dragon Ball Daima is more in line with Toriyama's original vision for Dragon Ball, and I believe Daima was the true continuation of Dragon Ball. That is why I have a conspiracy theory regarding modern Dragon Ball. I personally do not believe Toriyama had as much involvement in Dragon Ball Super as fans were led to believe. I think the franchise mainly used Toriyama's name to give credibility to newer projects. I would even argue that Toriyama may not have seriously written Dragon Ball since the original manga ended in the 1990s. In my opinion, many of the ideas we have seen in Dragon Ball Super, including the Universe 6 tournament and the Future Trunks and Goku Black Arc, feel much more like Toyotaro's ideas than Toriyama's. We already know that Toriyama was not directly writing every chapter himself. Most fans believed, however, that he was closely supervising Toyotaro and approving or rejecting story ideas. Personally, I do not think Toriyama was even that involved. I think his role was more limited, while other people were creatively steering the franchise behind the scenes. Moving forward, I believe Toei Animation and the Dragon Ball franchise will continue saying that future projects, whether it is Dragon Ball Super 2, new games, or future anime series, were all based on ideas Toriyama discussed before his passing. They will likely say he left behind notes and concepts for future stories.